Record.
गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। आज we'll take a look in China, the third episode of Peek into Everyday China, where I'm going to review what's happened for the past 1 week. I should have logically done it tomorrow or the day after, but the way things are moving, I thought let me do it today. Right. So with this in view, let me start. Why am I doing this the way it is happening? Right? Because Xi Jinping is in a bit of a panic, and that's palpable. When I saw the articles in South China Morning Post, in Nikkei Global and Kexin Global, जब आप देखते हो, there is something which is sort of missing. And what is missing? It's economics. Plain and simple. Why is this happening? Why is Xi Jinping, for the past 6 months, he's not bothered about economics? He's spoken of new productive forces, this, that, all that nonsense. All of a sudden, he's going towards economics, third plenum of economics. Suddenly, he's preparing ground for the third plenum of economics, which is to take place in July. I'm going to track it. You see how this fellow is doing things and how they're covering up everything. But Xi Jinping and company can only cover up that much. The reality will come, and then we can take a call as to where China is heading. But having said that, whatever, despite what I talk, there is also a parallel movement by Xi Jinping and company to take advantage of the global situation. And now that is coming through clear, because लड़ाई हो रहा है यूक्रेन में, गाजा में लड़ाई हो रहा है, बेसिक ईरान में इंस्टेबिलिटी थोड़ा है, और अफ्रीका में लड़ाई काफी हो रही, छोटे छोटे हमें नहीं पता चलता बट हो रहे हैं, इन्फ्लेशन ज्यादा है, सो द वर्ल्ड इज इन अ chaos. America is busy with all these wars, so is Europe, right? And what I see is he's contained the South China Sea with spat with Philippines, and slowly they're edging towards a Chinese-centric world order. I'll talk of that separately, what has happened, because that is something उसका नजरअंदाज नहीं कर सकते. और साथ साथ ये भी हम नहीं भूल सकते हैं कि चाइना का इकोनॉमी डाउन हो रहा है. इसके परिणाम होगा, इसका क्या परिणाम है हम डिस्कस करेंगे. क्योंकि जब एक देश अग्रसर होते जाता है, वो अपना शक्ति को बढ़ाना चाहता है, और इट वांट्स टू बिकम अ ग्लोबल लीडर ऑफ एवरीथिंग, राइट? When its own economy is going down, one is going up, one is going down, opposite directions, कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स होंगे चाइना के अंदर. वो किस प्रकार वो बाहर आएंगे, ये देखने वाली बात है. बट बोथ आर हैपनिंग. बट टुडे विल टॉक ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स. उसके बाद विल हैव एन ओपन हाउस. जो भी आपका सवाल है सब बताइए, क्योंकि अभी ये ओपिनियन पॉल, ये पॉल, वो पॉल आ जाएगा, फिर people will not have time for all these for a few days. We'll restart a little later. Right. First thing, the last episode, उसमें जब हमने बात किया था, तो I spoke of how the Chinese ship is grounded, right? And the property problem was there. China had given out a dole of $41 billion stimulus. The stimulus is largely loans, and the view is that it's not good enough upfront. It's too huge. So we'll start with the property story first, and then we'll take it further. Look at this. This is very interesting. Today, इसमें आया है Bloomberg में. China has 60 million homes which are not being sold. That's a hell of a lot of inventory. Just think, the average cost, did a quick check, the average cost of a home in China is about 16,244 Yuan or RMB per square meter. That's about 2,228 per square meter. Square meter, not square feet. It translates into about 150,000 to 250,000 per home. Dollars. Dollars being the common denominator. Okay? And China homes are costly. You shouldn't have doubts about that. Okay. Now, so you can imagine 60 million into 250,000 or say 200,000. So something like 12 trillion, 13, I don't know what it is. How many trillion dollars it is. I think it should come to about 12 trillion. So that is stuck. 12 trillion plus is stuck in unsold homes. What about homes for which people have paid and are not built? वो इसका डबल ले लो. So this is one big hole. Now for a problem which is say 14-15 trillion dollars or maybe more, to give 41 billion dollars to state provinces and all is peanuts. That's why it's not going to happen. Okay, is that at all? No, the property investment has also gone down. Now in this episode I'm going to show you a lot of graphs, and all these graphs are Chinese graphs. Okay, this is National Bureau of Statistics of China. So you see in the end, property is going down, investment. Okay, this is of course for the past 20 years, but at the end you see it's gone down. Now there's another issue. Now everyone says EVs, EVs, EVs. Why EV to up? Everyone is going in for EVs. Everyone wants to sell energy. Everyone wants to sell batteries. Everyone wants to sell solar in China. But if everyone sells only this, what happens to the rest of the economy? That's the funny part. And Xi Jinping is saying, "Yaar, abhi bas kam karo. Is battery bootery. Don't concentrate only on one part of the economy. Diversify." Okay. Otherwise, that whole system is getting overheated, and as a result, everyone who's rushing into this sector is cutting each other's prices. And with the tariffs which have gone up all over the world, everyone, I showed you last week, everyone has jacked up the tariffs. If the tariffs are jacked up, who will buy all this? So it's a glut. There is a glut. That means you'll drag. That is, you'll have unsold inventory. Okay, it's not only that. There's something else. He says China targets wasted production in critical sectors to curb pollution, ease overcapacity. There are 4 industries that don't produce. They've already produced so much that now they don't produce. What are those industries? He's talking of steel, petrochemicals, non-ferrous metals, and building material. कहता है मत बनाओ, so factory बंद करो, इसको electricity मत दो, क्योंकि वो फैक्ट्री चलाने से क्या होगा? बिजली देना पड़ेगा, बिजली होगा तो प्रदूषण होगा, और वैसे ही इनका इतना ओवर कैपेसिटी हो गया, so they cutting down. So just see what's happening in China. Confusion. एक तरह वो उसका घर नहीं बिक रहे, जिन्होंने जो पैसा दे दिया वो बन नहीं रहा. ठीक, everyone wants to produce solar or EVs or things like that, right? People are continuing to produce these old items which no one wants to buy, which means electricity. Now, if you close, jobs will go, and that's also happening. It's a very funny situation, this, right? So the trade has gone down because all those factories are closing down. All this, he wants to produce a plan. कि भाई China will recover this way. We have a problem because of COVID, because of America. और ये सब कहानी आएगा अभी. I mean, I can foresee it. And then he'll say, "This is my great plan, Xiconomics, Xi Jinping plan." We'll see what it happens. ये देखिए. This is the latest. Everyone thought China is producing, China is doing this, China is doing that. इनका खुद का डेटा बोलता है the factory production has shrunk in May. Okay, देखिए factory shrinks. Have a look at it closer. China factory activity shrinks in May amid uneven economic recovery. Okay, what has gone down? See the graph again. This is today's आज का ताजा खबर. In the end, manufacturing, PMI, and this thing. That halka line hai, that's a dangerous one. Manufacturing index. That's gone below 50. 50 is the median mark. Anything above 50 is expansion, or below 50 is contraction. Okay. He's gone down to 49.5. So there is a problem which is there. So the factory output is also going down, which has its own issues. Okay. Right. Now, he also knows कि भाई jobs नहीं है. So he's issued a call to arms. China must cultivate new job sources, quell chaos in employment market. These are all strong words. These are words which Xi Jinping is talking. The whole thing resembles to me a rat who's caught. Idhar bhago, udhar bhago, udhar bhago, udhar bhago. All these effects. Look, all this has come out in the past 5 days, 6 days. Sunday to today. Okay. Not unemployment is going down. We thought it was going up, it's now going down again. Or rather, okay. Plus, there are nearly 12 lakh graduates joining in the whole stream this year. So that overall unemployment scene is widening. Okay. ये देखो, startups. There are not enough startups today. The startup space in China is shrinking. Startup unicorns are not there. The numbers have gone down. And the number of people involved in startups has also gone down. And Xi Jinping is worried. Okay? So it catches his eye. So what if it catches his eye? क्या देखेगा? ऐसे देखेगा? So he wants to put money into this whole story. He'll give money. They'll show. They'll double the number of startups. They'll say, high tech, and it'll happen. Just watch 1 more month. We'll track it. So here is this from Ikai, this is Ikai Global. What does he say? He says Chinese business leaders see pay shrink for the first time in 20 years. This is a cover story. So there is a pay cut at the top. Normally in all corporates, pay cut starts at the bottom. First thing any corporate does is they cut the pay scales at the bottom. If the pay scales are getting cut at the top, then there's a problem. And mind you, Ikai Global or Caxin Global are both not political sites. They're all more, what shall I say, economic sites or business-oriented sites. Chalo, what is the next thing? Caxin. What does Caxin say? His cover story. China's pension plan faces prospects for change or going bust. Population, old age. I told you, every week there is something on population and old age. So their pension plan is at risk. Earlier they used to say 2035, now it might happen faster. धीरे धीरे आता है चाइना में जो झूठ है ना बाहर निकल के आ जाता है बाहर. It comes out, you can't stop it. So there's a problem in their pension plan. Okay, middle class jittery. Interesting. They're jittery about spending, especially on property, survey finds. Southwest University of Finance and Economics in Chengdu, Sichuan, carried out a survey wherever they did. Okay. And that's what this whole survey is. And the findings of the survey are interesting. I put it down. And of course, yeah, real estate sales are also going down. There's no doubt about it. There's nothing left. Puras 24, 23, it's only down. Right. What does this say? This needs to be read in full. He says, index of families' future spending expectations was lower than in the early days of COVID-19 pandemic. It was 101.9 in the first quarter of 2024. In the fourth quarter, last quarter, 2023, it was 103. In the second quarter of 2020, during the pandemic time, it was 102. So now it is now getting lesser. 100 is the dividing line between expansion and contraction. So it's about to get into contraction zone. Future spending expectations of families. This is a Chinese survey. It is not American Pew, Shiv, and all that. Families cautious about buying real estate. Households buying new homes has come down to 6.4% in the first quarter. It was 7.5% in the last quarter. That's going down. It goes with the graph. It goes with all the stories I've told you. Only 6.8% plan to buy property in the next 3%, while 20% want to wait and watch. 63% were not optimistic about economic prospects in the next 12 months. So, right, Aam Aadmi na khush hai. Okay. Expectations of job stability were still in the contraction range below the threshold of 100 at 98.2. जॉब्स है ही नहीं. वो शी जिनपिंग भी बोल रहा है, अब ये सर्वे वाले भी बोल रहे हैं. Okay. Household debt across all income groups rose, particularly among low-income households. All these is, see, Chinese data. It's not my data. It confirms what all I've been telling about China. Okay. Enrollment in the National Private Pension Scheme launched in November 22 did not meet policy expectations. Last year, 50 million people opened personal pension accounts. Only 22% of the account holders made deposit. Okay? Travel and entertainment have remained at pandemic levels. So, overall, what all I've shown earlier today is confirmed by their own survey and from different sources. So, you see what's happening actually. The people are becoming poorer. The state remains rich. The people are big. This is something like what's happened in Pakistan. Okay, next and very interesting one. This is. He says this is a Chinese expert. He says, what lesson does Stalin's Cold War mistake have for Russia, China, and US? He's a historian, all that. But let me read out what they've said. He says, this is about the China and Russia relationship. Very interesting, this is. He says, Putin wants to go backwards and rebuild the Russian empire, which is obvious. He's done that in Crimea, he's done it in Georgia, he's done it in Belarus, he's done it in Ukraine, Chechnya, Caucasus, everything. So what does he want to do? He says he wants to bring back the original Russian or the Soviet sphere of influence that had been whittled away. He says this is a security threat to China. While it is opposed to US and West, it is so expanded Russia is a threat to China. That's what he is saying. We all think that China Russia equations are going up, and no limits friendship. I told you last time in their recent meeting that no limits has been taken away. So there's a problem. Now the relationship between China and US is not good. So once again, China and Russia have a common enemy, and that pushes them to unite. All that is fine. But the first one is the operative thing. He says, in my opinion, China should stick to its foreign policy of the early days of reform and open up, not aligning with others or drawing lines based on ideology. This is again very, very, very important. What does this historian say? He says, भैया USA के पास चले जाओ, रशिया को छोड़ दो. And he's brought something else which I actually didn't think of it this way, to be very honest. He says there is a tendency to the return to the pattern of confrontation between the northern triangle and the southern triangle. What is the northern triangle? The northern triangle is Russia, North Korea, and China. The southern triangle is South Korea, Japan, and USA. But I think it would be dangerous to go that far and possibly trigger a full-scale conflict. China should be conscious. So we all think that Russia and China upheaval axis, crick upheaval, ये सब हमने बात किया है. I spoke extensively with General Raj Shukla on this. But you look at this fellow says, mat karo. And it gets prominent space in South China Morning Post. And there is a view within China which says getting too close to Russia might be a problem. So where does that leave that relationship? How does it impact us? I mean, it has to impact us at some point of time. So this is something which we have to work on. And this is a factor which I will discuss a little later. Because I'm working on it, I'm working on the way China is going about establishing its Sino-centric world order. Like I told you, whatever happens internally within its own system, it's not bothered. It's looking at externally. Okay. Then he says, again, population problem. Young seniors are those between 60 to 65. Elderly youth are those of 30 to 40. So this is the terminology which is coming in. So people are now internally getting more conscious of this aging business. It started affecting them socially. It's coming. I told you 6 months back that as days go by, this will dominate the Chinese thinking. It's happening actually faster than I thought. Okay. Every week there is an analysis of this. Right? Now, when all this is happening, there's a US delegation which has gone to Taiwan. Right? A political delegation. So they're telling Tenga to USA. China. And what will China do now against Taiwan is to be seen. Remember, at this point of time, China will do nothing. I mean, and that I'm very clear for a long time. Because now suddenly Xi Jinping finds his economic stool loose. ढीला हो गया। ये प्रॉब्लम्स देखिए ये, और बात ये है कि ये मेरा अंदेशा नहीं है, ये जी जिनपिंग का अंदेशा। ओके, he says cautions against energy investment overloaded meeting. Don't invest too much into energy, which I spoke of. It's all Xi Jinping's thinking. In a way, it's rational thinking. I mean, if you're rational, that's what you'll do. Suddenly, he's looking at the reality which is happening. Okay. Now, despite all this, there's one chap put to death because he embezzled some $150 million. Right? Senior broker, banker. So that's also happening. So purging going on. Purging is non-stop in China. Every week, 10 days, you'll find something happening. So this is all internal. What is happening externally, I'll tackle in a episode after the elections, because I think the number of people wanting to know about China is minimal. Everyone wants to know whether Modi will continue or Rahul Baba will come in or what happens, and that's logical. We'll wait till that happens. In fact, I am telling you now itself, on 4th, I'll not going to talk. Please keep looking at the polls. We'll restart only on 5th. Okay. And everyone talks of Yuanization. Look at this. This is again, just last week, every week there's something about the UN. China's UN strategy is not paying off with trade partners. It's there another survey. Policy and market risks are uncontrollable. Okay? People are not interested in taking up the UN. As simple as that. You see the exchange rates. UN is going up. That is, it's becoming weaker. Again, this is basic, their data. And in any case, this is international data. This survey, it says a total of 1,657 companies were surveyed in March. 71% private businesses, 13% state-owned enterprises, Chinese, and 15% foreign-funded enterprises. Out of those 1,600. 63.8% cited complexity of policies as the main obstacle, and more than 40% said difficulties lie in the compatibility of laws and regulations and capital flow barriers. The capital flow barriers and the laws and regulations with which China is governed is not compatible with India or USA or Europe. So money can't flow. If money can't flow in an international environment, how will anyone accept Yuan? If tomorrow I take Yuan, and that Yuan is tomorrow purpose towards Xi Jinping's ideas or militarizing China, why will I have Yuan? In a way, as much as we want to de-dollarize and not depend too much on the dollar, we don't have a choice. That is why if you see the Indian government is looking at having bilateral negotiations with a lot of people where say we do rupee trade. And as your power grows up, your rupee trade will increase. But don't think by any stretch of imagination that will replace the dollar and all. It will not happen. Okay, right. Uh, so what else in this? He says 20% pointed to lack of hedging tools. Southeast Asian customers are more likely to settle in Yuan, that is, countries around China. And those customers who have Chinese background. Because there are a lot of Chinese expatriates who are, say, up to Singapore, Malaysia. A lot of Chinese who are doing business. They don't mind Yuan, but others won't. Like customers in overseas markets prefer to settle in dollars because Yuan is not useful for investing in their countries. As simple as that. As simple. So those of us who think Yuan is going to replace the dollar, just forget it. A lot of things will come. This is a survey, and this is an internal survey within China. Unless people want to hold that currency, nothing will be held. I mean, let me put it. I've been going abroad, coming back, everything, going to many countries during service, some after service. I go to each country, carry some of their currency as a token and रख लेता हूँ. But mostly, whatever I have to hold, in foreign currency, I hold in dollars. I won't hold in yuan. I mean, it's not much. It's to take care of basic expenses for 1-2 days, so that you have some cash in hand if everything fails. But I have dollars, and that's the case with almost everyone. Everyone who does international travel, wherever he is, he holds dollars. It could be 100, 200, 300, 400, $500. So this business of yuan, yuan and all is bunk. Now, this is something else which is happening in China. This is a mosque in Hui. Hui is a Muslim-dominated area. After Xinjiang, Hui, this is the central part of China. Hui province. This is the mosque. Now, this mosque looks like this. Where are all these Islamic countries? Why is there so much hue and cry about what's happening in India when you don't even talk about China? What's happening? Mosque ko bana diya Chinese, dekhiye. This is Islamization, or rather signification of Islam. Same third-rate Pakistan doesn't talk. Not a single word. It doesn't talk of what's happening in Xinjiang. What happening to their mosque. In your country, our country, you change a brick in a mosque and tomorrow there'll be riots out there. What's happened to all these fellows there? And many of these riots will be instigated from abroad. So there's a lot, you have to think what's happening in China. They're going to a system which will give them problems because whether you like it or not, faith is something, if you shake, there will be problems. I do keep hearing odd, in tweets, in odd, snippets come out here and there that it's getting into social problems. We'll see how much social problems China is getting into. But my guess, as the people become poorer, they will become poorer. And as they become older, which you can't stop that, there are going to be problems in China, and those problems are going to be internal. And for that, Xi Jinping and company are going to be so repressive. And I'll do that also in that episode where China is trying for a Sinocentric world order. How it is doing it. It's doing it. And we have to be open eyes about it. Okay. So I'm done with the problem of Xiconomics, which is in panic. There is some panic. Now I'll take on all your questions. I'll start from the top. All your questions one by one I'll take. It doesn't matter where you have this thing from. What would be the reasons for the possible visit of MBS to Iran? Look, you must understand that the Saudi Arabians want peace. Anyone wants peace. Oil as a resource is running out. Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi have taken a conscious decision to invest into the future. That is why IMEC and all that started. So they feel that if they can mend fences with Iran, it's to their benefit and to Iranians' benefit. And they're diversifying. If you see MBS is going to Iran, he is going to China, he is going to India. They want to get off USA, which is a good thing. But unfortunately, with what's happening in Israel and Hamas, things will not, I mean, he might not be that successful, but the movement is there, which is good for us. For us as Indians, I think it's a good move. We will not have a duality of relationship with Iran and Saudi Arabia. And this will help countering Turkey out. And it will also control Pakistan. Okay. Z has a master plan to buy all empty houses in the country for 42 billion USD. Why? Won't this put provincial governments under pressure because they'll obviously have to? Yeah, there's no doubt about it. That's what I've said. But 42 billion se kya hoga? Look, he has to show that he is doing something. I mean, he's got to face the third plenum, economic plenum. So that's his plan. So he says, look, I've forwarded 42 billion. You buy, give it to poor people, and I'll write off the money, whatever he wants to do. But that has problems for China in the long run. But he is a politician. At the end of the day, he's a politician. His survival depends on doing all this and showing himself off as doing something great for the Chinese people. So that's the thing. Okay. So aside from the present cloak and daggers game in progress, apparently China remains the American B team. Attempts are being made to provide China a soft landing. Your views? No, I don't think so. I don't think China is the B team. I disagree with it. Uh, they are at daggers drawn with each other. You have to understand there's no soft landing being given to China anymore. They're coupled. Globalization brought them together. A lot of manufacturing and is being done in China, right? Uh, no one wants to take it on, and no one has the capacity to take it on. Okay, so you cannot go to war with China immediately. No one can. I mean, all this talk of war, sure, and all I've been saying right from the beginning, it won't happen. So people have to, America has also put in Make in America kind of a thing, Make in USA, of critical technologies and critical industry. So they'll replace it. After that happens, something else will happen. It'll take time. It's not going to happen in a hurry. The whole story will take, in my way of looking, what got built over 30 years can't be undone over the next 5 years. Okay. It'll take 10, 15 years. I keep saying this is where is our opportunity. Is our government alive to this? Do we have a plan? And because the plan has to be twofold. One is reduce your own dependence on China and increase more people coming in. Can that be successful? A lot depends on what happens on June 4th. Right? So if you have continuity, you have one set of issues. You don't have continuity, you have another set of issues. I'm not going to say whether it's good or bad at this point. We'll see. We'll analyze that. I'll analyze that from a security perspective, from a economic perspective, and the way I see the results as they happen. Because at the end of the day, when the results happen, it's the will of the people. It's our will which has prevailed. Okay? We'll have to take it from there. Communism was never defeated, it mutated. I agree with you, there's no doubt. Okay, the dog and child eating Chinese are all having fun, irrespective of these useless Chinese surveys. Well, that's your view, Rex, right? The state has always remained rich. I agree with you. That's what I say. The state has remained rich. This is the rich state and the poor people is a hallmark of decay. Understand this. In Pakistan, it is an advanced stage. I mean, this is the nearest comparison for us. China is slowly heading there. There will come a time when the Chinese are in a mess internally and they can't stop it. And the number of people there are far too many for any leader or any set of people to control. Somewhere something will happen and you'll see a lot of issues there. And of course, the thing is, as people are getting poor and people are getting old, both these things are happening at a pace which I've never seen happen. It's again logical because the pace with which China shot up is the pace with which it will go down also. So that's going to happen. Okay. Here I have to, if I have to go, you have to have historical examples of the rise and fall of a great power. It happened with USA. Sorry, it happened with USSR. USSR rose to be a great power in the last century after the October Revolution. By the end of the century, it collapsed. Finished. You are only near the peak of China. China is somewhere at the peak or started to come down. So let's see, 5-10 years, what will happen? Do you see change of leadership in China and rapprochement of USA and China in the near to medium future? No, it will not happen. Not in the near future. No, that is why I said I will show you, just ask this question. When I do this on China and its Sinocentric world order, it is salami slicing its way to the Sinocentric world order, taking advantage of the global situation today. When I say today, for the past 5-6 years. It started actually before the pandemic. It started with when Trump came into office, continued with the pandemic, Ukraine war, Gaza. It's taking advantage. The rich state, poor people phenomenon. As China is reversing to Mao's days. So there's an instability which is building in, which will impact us. And we have to analyze it and understand it, which I'll do shortly. What is the state of real estate market in China now? I told you in the beginning. I've shown you all the graphs, right? What is the state of real estate market? It has gone down. Let me give you an idea of what is the real state of the real estate. I told you what is the cost of a this come. Look at this. Per home, its average is what 150 to 250,000 per home. That's fine, but the square meter cost is approximately 16,244. 1 year back or 2 years back, this was 40,000. Already it has gone down below 50,000. 50%. Gone below 50%. The fall is huge. Okay. Why is Space Force named so? How is it a force? What does it look like? What is it composed of? Who are its personnel and what do they do? How does it differ from other military branches? Extensive question. You are asking this because you are not seeing the video which we did. General Rajiv Narayanan and I did on the Space Force. The space force is not a force which is sitting in space and acting like a military. It is a force which is sitting in Earth and controlling space. You need a dedicated network of communication. You need of production. You need a thing for launching. You need someone to put the AI together, to surveillance together, to get the data out, to feed the data up. You need uplink, downlink channels. You need ground stations. You need a whole lot of infrastructure. That whole story is Space Force. And when you amalgamate it with the military as to what you want out of this, what does the military want out of this? What are the planning you will have to do domain awareness? Space Force. So Space Force is not someone who's fighting up there. You have to think differently with new this thing. Okay, maybe I'll do what Space Forces are. I'll do another episode, but have a look at it. Get back to me if you're not with that episode with General Rajiv Narayanan, and I'll redo it if needed. USA is ready to hand over Taiwan after semiconductor for factories in Texas. No, it will not. Don't worry. That will not happen. So there are far more things. This semiconductor thing in Texas will take another 10 years to happen. Do China to show world as a leader of communist bloc after USSR or sole leader in China? Global. That's why I said I'll do that thing. Just Ragul, wait. Just wait till I do that. Because I need to explain to people what's happening with China. Look, I've been critical of China. I know that. But at the same time, I'm not a fool to not realize what China is doing. And that's something which I must bring to all of you. I'll do a separate thing. And it's salami slicing its way to a Sino-centric world order. I'll do that. I met someone from Taiwan recently, and I must salute you that your views on China has been spot on. Your pragmatic assessment on China is highly. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Tibet monk, and I'm grateful. Right? Uh, yeah. I mean, you have to read China. You have to read their books. You have to read everything. China today is not the old China, right? Yeah, you don't get their internet, you don't see their TV, you don't see many things. But there is enough literature available. If you read and assess, China is very globalized. So you analyze the whole thing, and then you get a sense of what China can do. Look, I'm a military man. Okay, logically speaking, I should be talking only of the PLA XYZ about China, but I don't. I hardly talk of the PLA. I hardly talk of those things. I talk of everything else because then I get to know what's the composite strength of the country to do anything it wants to do against someone else. Then I put our own structure and then say, okay, how do you do the whole thing? I'm glad you said this, but one has to have a method in the madness. I also know that a lot of people in India waffle about China. I am proud. So far, whatever prediction I made of China has not gone awry. It's come correct. So all I can tell you is tell your friends, join in and listen. Be patient. One of the things about China is you have to be patient to get knowledge. You have to be patient and keep analyzing and reanalyzing. Never get into a fixed idea about China. Yeah, how is China able to manage world opinion against them, including opinion of Islamic countries, for example? That's the point. I'm going to talk to you about this. Very genuine question. Just wait. Just wait. I'll put it out. I've not decided the heading, but generally it'll be China salami slicing its way to a Sino-centric world order. Something like that I'm going to talk of. long thing, but I'm very clear there is salami slicing going on, right? And there is a Sinocentric world order being established. Are are Saudis, Arabs, crypto Jews? They talk loud but do nothing. Well, I wouldn't like to get involved with it. They have their own issues, so we'll leave it at that. Any update on attacks order by army? Why is Indian army last in accepting Indian weapons? And is Chandigarh lobby real? Well, let me explain to you. I mean, you have to understand this well. ATAGS was started by me. It was not by anyone else. And we, at that point of time, we said we will take 150 guns. That's there. We have to take 150 ATAGS. Now it has become 300. So 300 ATAGS order is assured. So what's wrong with it? Why is Indian Army not placed the order? Because the ATAGS has not yet met our specifications. Understand that. Till such time the specifications are not met, order will not be given. Okay? Indian Army, the ATAGS is a very good gun for the plains, but we need guns for the mountains. I don't need guns against Pakistan, I need guns against China. The ATAGS was designed, or rather conceived, to be a gun against China, but the design and what it's become is against Pakistan. Not optimum there, but I can use it against Pakistan. The fundamental design, I don't blame Bharat Forge or Tata's for it. They were given a design by the DRDO and that's flawed. Period. You might say, oh, you're talking like this. I know it. I know where the problems are. And there's certain things that you don't tell in the open. But we've got a gun. So that's being modified, whatever to the extent feasible for high altitude. When that happens, the order will be given. You give the order, you get something which you can't use, it's a waste. That is the issue. In the meanwhile, Armenia has placed an order. We are giving it to them because the existing attack suits Armenia planes. It's very simple. There's nothing else. Okay, there is no other issue. Chandigarh lobby real? I don't know. There's no whatever I've interacted. And mind you, I keep interacting. I keep interacting with a whole lot of people. You've seen me. I speak to the CDS, the vice chief. I speak to next week. The CISC is coming. Chief of Integrated Staff is coming to IIT. I keep going speaking to, because I'm operational still, right? I wouldn't say operational. I'm in the business of. I still wear a government hat. I don't see any lobby function anymore. Once upon a time, maybe not anymore. All this nonsense, I would suggest you don't. I mean, you guys are seeing the social media and get impressed by it. I would suggest believe in the system. Believe in the system. The system will do well by itself if all of you believe in it. Remember, you're talking of an armed force which has not let you people down. Okay. US and China are under heavy debt, but US is recovering, but China is going down. Yeah, I think so. China, that's why I said the problem with China is the state remains rich and the people are becoming poorer with the debt. That's the problem. America is doing more for Indian weapons than Indian army. No, Armenia is that I told you. See, you are not thinking freely. You are thinking freely. You are going on neutral and you let go without applying your brains. I've told you why. There's logic. Remember, the Indian Army doesn't do by what Tata tells or L&T tells or Bharat Forge tells. What these companies, any company, is doing is he's selling his what he has. Okay, that is salesmanship. Understand that. He is putting out in media, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Reality is what the army wants to do. And I am very clear about what it is. I mean, if you want to believe me, you can believe me. Other you want to believe all of them, go and believe. Free world. You can keep coming, I'll keep talking. I have no problem. But trust me, that gun is not yet ready for induction. Okay, I know. In fact, even now when the army takes it, they're taking it with a lot of discount. And that discount will not get rectified because there's the fundamental flaws in that gun. US is printing dollars and China is manufacturing the whole world. Yeah, that's known. US will keep printing dollars till such time it's a reserve currency, right? And China will continue to manufacture for a long time to come. This is not going to unwind. We said all this Atmanirbhar, all this nonsense which the government has said. Still, your trade imbalance with China is going up. You're not able to put together things. Why? See, let me ask you a counter question of this. Armenia is doing more for Indian weapons than Indian army. Opinion. Okay. China is doing more for Indian industry or for government of India than Indian industry. What's your opinion? The same thing. Has this government taken enough steps to cut down manufacturing from China and put it in your thing? They're not able to do it. And I find many ministers waffling about it. ठोस कदम उठाने की जरूरत है. Thanks again for the show. Only problem, Z himself is unpredictable. To hide his economy's position, he might become aggressive in an economic front against us. He will be. Let's be very clear. I mean, that is why I put this, and the next one will be, I told you, on Sinocentric world order, how he's achieving it, or rather, how he's trying to achieve it, and what are the dangers in it for us. At the end of the day, whatever analysis I do on China has to have a relevance to what it is. What if US China settle with China and 1+1 as Obama stated? That's a dream. It will not happen. Don't worry. My first comment, please, can we? What is your first comment about communism or something like that? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, what's your first comment? Yeah, communism was never defeated. I told you, yes, it's muted. It is still alive wherever it is. I agree with you. Pakistani are launching new Operation Zarbazar or something like that. Do they have money to sustain this? No, they don't have. Are they? Will they start this? Let's see. I mean, ये तो हवा में बात है अभी तक. Let us see if they actually do it. Yeah, Gupta Char. Namaskar, General Shankar. With the EU mulling tariff on Chinese EV imports after US, will the Chinese now mend ways with India to access the Indian market? They will not mend their ways with India. They're not bothered because your trade with them is just about 2% of their global trade. To what extent will Gulf countries invest into Pakistan? Will it be peanuts as always to keep them surviving or anything substantial? Okay, what Gulf countries will do is will take over Pakistan's assets. They'll buy out Pakistan's assets slowly, one by one. Okay, they'll put money and take over that asset and run it. No new assets will be created in Pakistan. For that matter, even China. There's one reality which General KJ Singh once, when he was speaking of CPEC, said every country has a capacity of absorbing investment. In Pakistan, it is $1 billion. It cannot, absorb more than $1 billion a year, maybe two, not more. So if someone says I'm investing $10 billion into Pakistan, it's over the next 5-6 years. अब 5-6 साल पाकिस्तान में किसने देखा है? People said, CPEC will be $62 billion. Actually, what has been put into it? $22 billion. And it is sick. So that every chap now knows putting money into Pakistan is dicey. So everyone, at the same time, no one will allow Pakistan to go down. It is in their interest not to allow Pakistan, to ensure Pakistan stays above board. So that's how it is. They'll give trickle. What is the situation of food security presently in China? It's bad. It's going bad day by day. Mangoko se bete. Can you please highlight the comparison between India and China in terms of military power, weapon, population, economy? Well, their military power is of a different variety. Our military power is of a different variety. Okay. Weapons, they look, you have to understand what is their aim. They want to have a global role. So their military, their weaponization, and everything is for that. Their economy is 5 times ours. There's no doubt about it. Their population, we have overtaken them. And they have a weak population and it's dwindling. Their economy, your economy is going up, their economy is going down. So this will continue. This question will take me another 10 episodes to tell you, but this is the broad thing. DRDO designed something which was not up to the mark, and Army didn't change any specifications in between while ATAGS was designed. Why there was no communication between it? Oh, there's a huge thinking. It is not so. The DRDO is largely a good organization with bad thinkers. And, that's one of the problems with DRDO. Why is DRDO being restructured? It's not delivered. Why is it not delivered? Because they've done what they wanted to do. The ATAGS is one. They did it in ATAGS. They've done it in what's this? MBT Arjun. Okay, many places. They don't deliver. It's not that. And the funny thing is, really speaking, you don't need ATAGS. Your whole story has changed. You need a different gun today. That what started ATAGS, when I started, I visualized it to be 10-12 ton gun. It is 20 tons. What do you do with it? Yeah, some Jamans are going and beating some police officer in Jammu station, all caught on tape, is convol and all. What is happening? This is minor. These things will always happen. Don't worry. It's not a major issue. Is it possible to have discussion with Ankit Shah and D? No, it's not. Firstly, I don't know who Ankit Shah is. I don't know his qualification. If he is not someone I know, I'll not call him. And de-dollarization, I'm very clear about it. So I'm not going to ask. And this is not that kind of an economic channel where I talk only of de-dollarization. China is providing subs to Pakistan. It may come to fruition in a few years. What do you suggest Bharat do to counter this? Well, you have to strengthen your army and navy. As simple as that. You have to put pressure on Pakistan. If he's getting it, you have to strengthen your navy. As simple as that. 5 years will be too long, and yeah, that's okay. RISF. Hello, General. Some people are saying we will have World War III around to 2030? Your opinion, and will Russia fight with China to counter USA? Or I don't think there'll be a World War III. Don't worry. We're too interconnected to have wars the way it was earlier. Okay, the world is expanding into something else. By then, climate change will take over. You'll have more problems of climate change. You'll have population migrations. A lot of things are there. What is in the future? Technology will have a different effect on a lot of things. So I don't see a war happening. And who are these people who are saying World War III? I mean, I want to know their credentials. There has to be credentials. I agree. A lot of people on YouTube, masala, will talk. Yeah, they will. You will have 1,000 people watching, those channels in any live session. Their views will go to 1 lakh, things like that. वो सुन लो, उसमें कुछ होता है, नहीं होता. I believe in absolute cold analysis, and I'll give you predictions based on, I won't say prediction, prognosis within the band. This will happen, not happen. Logic. You want to interested in logic and reason? Come to this channel. Don't quote me other channels. During Galwan thinking or soldiers were caught in ambush? No, they were not. What was military intelligence doing? Well, they slept. Why no reinforcement during clash? It happened. That's why they were pushed back. Otherwise, nothing would have happened. Yeah, this looks like the same mistake as Kargil. It was, to a large extent, I agree. At one point of time, we made the mistake of not recognizing what the Chinese were up to. And the second thing is, when those chaps did an incursion, we should have done a counter incursion at 2-3 places. Then it would have balanced out. We didn't do it, but then you can't keep thinking back and looking back. You can't drive looking at the rear view mirror. You have to look forward. This issue I spoke of 2020 lot in many channels. Now it's a waste of time. Pakistan has recently said they don't have a first use nuke policy in order to threaten India. No, they have already had, always have had. This is false. Heard a story that IASC was doing R&D without tangible outcomes, and then PMO said no GOI for such. Yes, I agree with you. Okay. Will Jawans face any action, or they are above the law? Discipline means nothing to them. There'll be a court of inquiry and all these things, and who are at fault will be taken to task. Don't worry. I think free thinker, you're thinking too freely. From what I can make out, and you're thinking in the wrong direction. Let me be upfront with you. Whether you come back to this channel or not, I don't know. But you have to think differently in life. For success, you have to think positively. But your questions are genuine, I'll answer them. If people are involved in a scuffle, they will be taken to task. Army doesn't tolerate this nonsense. Yeah. As Pakistan has recently said, they do not have a first use nuclear policy in order to threaten India as tensions are rising on Afghan and Iranian front. What are your thoughts? Look, Pakistan is in a fix. Okay. We need to analyze Pakistan as it's changing. And this month, remember the Kargil war. Actually, today I wanted to discuss the lessons of the Kargil war with General Hasnain. He was stuck in something, so I changed this. And on 5th, which I wanted to do this on 5th, we've swapped. So I'm going to start this series on Pakistan this month, intermittently, different things. So wait for this, we'll talk of it. Is it possible that we are importing iPhones from China and CKDs and exporting and showing? Oh no, I don't think so. Apple, look, We at this point of time, we are in no position to make iPhones the way it is being made in China. Apple iPhones also, many things are coming from abroad. They're getting assembled here and going. What Apple is doing is they have slowly started a program to manufacture those items here with the expertise they're getting from there. It's going to take time. Nothing happens in a day. Even babies take 9 months to be produced. This is going to take time. Don't worry. Action on yeah, I think you are stuck. Whoever comes to power, the future course of things will have to be continued. No, I don't agree. I think there's a lot of change required because the future, whatever happened, there are a lot of problems in what happened. Incidentally, I didn't like your Agnivir system. I think it was. Uh, I wrote about it then, and a lot of people. I fell foul of a lot of people. People didn't agree, but now they started agreeing. Agnivir is like demonetization of the Indian army. You have to rethink that. Then your entire procurement business and indigenous manufacture have to rethink. The old thing cannot work. You can't have just Adani and Ambani doing everything. You need to have a groundswell of people doing. There's a change in technology. Your approach to technology is wrong. Intent is right, the approach is wrong. And you have to start thinking differently. So I don't think the same continuation is good for India. And why this problem has happened is we have not had a strong opposition. I do hope whatever happens, you have a stable government. My hope after these elections is only two: stable government, strong opposition, not weak opposition, not a negative opposition. I want a strong opposition and a stable government. If this happens, India will progress. Yeah, I want truth. You get the truth. I agree with you, but get your questions so that you think positively. Don't have doubts of what's happening. That's the thing. A series on Israel Hamas war. I did a lot of, you know, when the Israel Hamas war started, did a lot of episodes on the Israel Hamas war. Similarly, Russia Ukraine, I did a lot of episodes. See, the Israel Hamas war is degenerating slowly, okay, into something useless. Let me see, I'll do some opposition only. No, that's the point. What I'm trying to tell you, Arunachal, is not that opposition doesn't oppose. You need a strong opposition to hold the government in check. You'll agree with me, I can count many instances where our weak opposition has not held our government responsible or accountable. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, you're get off this topic. Yeah. We'll not talk of it. Where tunnel warfare is. Okay, I'll do one. I'll see. I'll get someone to speak on this. What paper should be published and discussed in public so that government of India takes recognition of what is discussed on this channel? See, one of the reasons, let me put it, Abhishek. I did this series on technology. Everyone talks of technology. All of you have said, sir, this, why ATAGS, why not that, why this, why submarines, AO. The fundamental is for technology. I do technology, a series on various technologies. I don't get even 20 people to watch it. I don't even get 1,000 views. Then what are we talking? We are talking nonsense. So whom do I write a paper to? So we should know, all of you also, when you ask me such questions, I am not enthused by your response that I write, why I take trouble to make those thing on space. I did a lot of research to put up that thing yesterday on space. I did a lot of research to do things on rockets. I don't even get 1,000 views. What's the big deal? In fact, whatever I spoke on rockets, there's one reporter in print who took that and produced it. I mean, I can talk on any subject, but I need response. If I don't get response, why should I waste my time? पेपर लिख के क्यों काला करूं मैं? Yeah. Stronger opposition means more. I think you have got it wrong, and you're getting fixated now. Stronger opposition means holding the government to accountability. Okay, accountability. Helping the government get over problems. And for that, the government also has to reach out to the opposition. It's not, it will happen if you have a balanced parliament, or it will happen automatically. But if the results go again completely towards BJP, you'll have problems. Please make one on radar technology and radar cross section management of. यार जनोदारी ये सब मैं करूंगा तो कोई देखता नहीं है. आप देखोगे और मैं बात करूंगा और कोई देखता नहीं है. मैं करने के लिए सब कर लूंगा मैं. कोई ये देखता नहीं है. स्पेस के बारे में बात किया, ये कल का है. एवरीथिंग इज ऑन स्पेस. As we are talking, everything is wherever you are, you're seeing it through space. Okay, and yet no one saw that video. I'm actually upset, but it's okay because I want to do what I'm supposed to do. Don't be dissuaded by the number of views. I'm sure the audience of this channel. Yeah, I agree, quality over quantity, but I need to expand. I need more people to see, more people to understand. There's no point in creating a set of 1,000 people who are viewing it regularly over a period of time. And then what's the use? That's a small well. Yeah, China recently once became India's largest. No, you'll not lose to Shark, don't worry. You'll not lose with anyone. But you need to be very clear as to, you need to have a plan as to how to reduce your trade imbalance with China. I didn't see it with the previous government, unfortunately. It's not in the public domain. Our Prime Minister kept saying Atmanirbhar, Atmanirbhar, Atmanirbhar. What? Did any one minister say, I've done Atmanirbharta in this, I've cut down my dependence on Chinese? Why? Do video on British Army and Indian Army similarities and differences. Not worth it. Problem want instant results. They want to understand an R&D success rate is low and you need to have patience and invest. Yeah, I agree with you. You can't have everything happening overnight. Opposition parties should unite while dealing with external threats like Israel. We should. But it's equally important for the ruling party to reach out to the opposition party. And this is a problem with our opposition party. I mean, not opposition, with our ruling party. Our ruling party, my opinion, has not been fair to the opposition. We had a system, good, bad, or ugly. We had a very strong ruling party, a weak opposition. If our ruling party was sensible, they would have promoted the opposition to come up with constructive suggestions. अगर आप सबको बोलते रहोगे तो यार तुम बेवकूफ हो, तुम बेवकूफ हो, तुम बेवकूफ हो, तो वो बेवकूफ बन के आपको दिखाएगा. That's what happened. And that is a major issue with our polity. I hope we as a people have been successful in balancing this. If we as a people balance it, we are. And then we have the second problem is we have a lack of leadership at national level. whether you like it or not. Yeah, I'm not talking of. Yeah, you might have Mr. Modi, who has been a great leader. There's no doubt about it. But who else? Either in their own party or in the opposition. I don't see the opposition coming up with visionary statements anywhere. I mean, look at. So there are issues. We'll wait till 4th. We'll talk of it then. I'll discuss it. At least I'll put out my views of what the new government should do after 4th, sometime down the line, from a national security point of view. We need to discuss whether we should have a national security document or not. We need, but right. So fine. I think we've exhausted today. Thanks a lot. I hope I've been able to answer all your questions. We'll wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow the 5th episode of the technology and war. I'm going to talk of AI. Let me see if I can talk something new. Okay. Till then, good evening and Jai Hind.